Alright, so in the last, I think in the last record I made, I did the webpack files and I told you that we're gonna move to the HTML and the style. So, I told you that we're gonna copy and paste, but actually I prefer that I do it for you, but not with any style. Just like, what is the skeleton, the basic skeleton that you need? Actually, you need two things: a form and an output devs, an output dev and a form. That's all the HTML you need. If you want to put anything more, I think this will be a piece of cake, because you don't need to worry about just like handling the style, the sass and these things. So that's all. And we will not gonna style it, because I'm gonna leave that to you. That's a very, very easy mission. For me, it's better for me to, as I told you, to learn you or to teach you the logic. So let's see here. As I told you, the first thing I need is just like a form. So I'm gonna hint that here and highlight it. Okay. And do that. My typing speed is horrible, guys, so I want you to please endure with me that. So here is the form, and now we can comment this and come here. And before I write the form, just like an introductory thing, where are you going? So now we have a reason to make this form, just like to get this piece of information. And maybe we're gonna write and when. So now we know what we need: the city and the destination, or the destination and the date. So let's do that here in the form. I'm not gonna make an action, but I'm gonna make on submit feature. Just like on submitting of this form, I need you to call a function that is called handle submit, which we didn't create yet, and we will go to create in our JS file. So it's called handle submit. But of course we learned with that girl, I don't remember the name, from Udacity, that you should use a frame called client. It's just like a library for Webpack to understand and read and export the JS functions and make them functional at our project. So client.handle.met, sorry, what is the JS? I'm sorry for that. And I'm gonna write event, and believe me, you need to write it like this, because if you didn't write it like this, it will be just like something is happening, it will not understand everything. But here, it's an event. So I'm just like, I'm giving it, I'm giving to my function the event, and it should prevent the default event coming from the form and do the event I'm going to tell it to do. For example, the form, once you submit it, it will update refresh the local host and try to find the place where this form should submit to. It's like the action where you will put the action. For example, if you put in the action here, for example, Google, which is HTTP, and you then write www.google.com, you will find this form going to Google. But I do not want this form to submit or even calling any action. I want to deal with that with myself. So I'm going to refer an event, and I'm going to make this event prevent default, and then I'm gonna handle my form without worrying about that the form will submit without my permission. No, it will submit when I tell it to submit, and I will make that to my favor, and I will submit to Axios to call the server, and the server will call the APIs. So let's see how we will do that. We need two things now: a label, and this label is for city. I'm gonna write here city, and an input, of course, for this thing. So the input is text, and the name is city, and the ID is city2. So now we made the first one, and let's put them in a div, just like to make each one in its own row. Okay, so now let's make another div, and in this div I'm gonna put another label, and for this label it will be for date. I'm gonna write here date, and then I'm gonna make another input, and this input will be date, and the name will be date also, and the ID date. It's okay, we can do like this. Okay, so now I have two labels for two inputs. That's my form. The only thing I need now is just a little button up here to submit this form. Okay, so now we have our form, and the only thing we need now is actually an output. So let me get this output here. And let me put another one just like this. Okay, so now we have the output. So what is the output going to be? And let me copy that because I hate HTML. So that's it. I need a div. I'm gonna remove that for now because that was in my styling with Bootstrap. So I'm gonna make a class. The class is called flight data, which is what is the output that will come from me from the APIs. So the coming will be the remaining days, how many days remain until you make your flight, and another input will be the city name, and the temperature, the maximum temperature, the minimum temperature, and the weather. So not every time there will be a minimum temperature and a maximum temperature, because I am making that I will only fill it once there is something in the far future, like more than 7 days. But as the rubric says, if it's less than 5 days, I will only get back the temperature and the weather description, but those will not appear. But if it's a forecast, then those will appear. And the last thing is a city picture. Actually, the weather is coming from an API. I think it's called I don't know, weather something like this. We will know, of course. And this is coming from Pixabay. But what if you try to make or enter a city and the city has no picture in Pixabay? And this is possible because of course Pixabay is not made for that. So here you have to make a little change and make another condition in which you tell the server that if you didn't have anything from if you didn't have any heads means any pictures coming back from Pixabay, you can use another alternative solution, and this will, when we come to that, we will solve this matter. But now we need to just like make sure, yeah, we wrote everything we need about the HTML. The only thing you need now is to put some styling, and I will leave that to your creativity. Okay, so in the next video we will see how we are going to handle the submit of these two things. But let me here show you the dev first. But first I need to run the build. So because I like to run the build before everything, before using the dev for the first time, because I feel like the dev is updated once the build is updated. I mean in the first time. After that you can build on that. So npm run dev, and let's see what will happen. Webpack dev server is not recognized as an internal or external command. Webpack dev server. I don't know, but maybe I didn't. Of course, I don't remember that, but maybe I didn't install it. So let's see. That's why I like to test my job. Alright, so we downloaded npm webpack dev server, and this, sorry, not that, okay. Let's see now if it's going to run the dev. And yep, the server is running, the handle submit.js file is working, or I mean the index.js, the entry point for our webpack is working, and here's the city, the dev, and the submit button. At least this freaky, ugly user interface will be able to give us everything we need after a while. Okay, believe me, we don't need more than this. Just that is the main core of your project. Whatever you want to do in the style, just do it, and we will do the logic. So let's go to the next job.